It's Nick here. I wanted to talk a little bit today about kind of going prime time with your art and or quitting your day job or whatever, but just really about stepping into your work more fully than you ever have before. For a lot of people, so I'll be kind of going over a few of the kind of prime ingredients that you need to kind of make this art thing really, really work. And um, a lot of us come into this art making and we're not, we just kind of wander into it and it's something that we enjoy doing. And then you take a workshop or two, and then before you know it, you're a little more serious, and then it becomes kind of a thing, and people start expecting you to make art, and you're loving it more and more and more. And then you kind of keep going, and then maybe you do another workshop or you take a course, and or you put your work in the local ice cream store, and suddenly people are buying your work. And I know this is a really, really fun process, and it goes at different rates for different people. Hey Carol, nice to see you here. Karen. um, so so what the questions I get a lot are around: how can I do this art thing in a more substantial way? When am I ready to really like get that studio or invest in this thing that just is like, it's pretty unpredictable, and you've never made any of this work before. You don't even know where your work's going necessarily. So it's really a matter of having a few things in place. I don't like to do things in a way that is super, super stressful. So if you have something set up in your life, you don't want to like throw everything out and think, oh, this is all I'm gonna do right now. Hey, Susie. Oh, she's planning to quit teaching this year. This is perfect then. This is a perfect call for you. Hang on. I'm gonna put my tea in my cup. Yeah, it's so a lot of people that I coach and help over this transition. And so today I just thought I'd share a little bit about, what those benchmarks are for those of you who are wanting to do this more. And it doesn't even matter if you like have a day job or not. It's more just like, how do you make this a bigger part of your life? How can you, if that's what you desire, if you want to spend more time making work and less time doing all these other things that maybe you could, get some revenue from your work and pay for that person to mow your lawn, so you don't have to do that, so you could be painting instead. Hey Marty, nice to see you here. Tomoko, perfect. Brenda, there's always a synchronicity sometimes when I'm sitting here thinking, well, what have people been talking about? And because I get a lot of questions, and then I just come up with a topic. This idea I just had about half an hour ago, and I needed something to talk about, and I was thinking, because I usually do something on Tuesdays on this page. So anyway, Deborah, nice to see you here. Awesome. Marion from Isle of Skye in Scotland. Wow. And Barbara saying it's her first year as a full-time artist. It's so cool, and it's so inspiring. I know, Barbara, probably you've gotten a lot of kudos from your friends and people in your world that are just like, right on, man. That is so cool. Because there's this belief out there that this is not really possible. It's not possible to make art and do this successfully. And it's just one of those limiting beliefs, and it's a big one. Like I had it for most of my career. I didn't think I could make paintings of anything I wanted and even sell them and even come close to supporting myself. And it took me losing everything, losing all my money, to then go for it, to discover that you actually can make art. And so really I'm just sharing with you guys what I had to put in place, what I learned over the years, what I needed. So I'll just kind of go into this a little bit. The first thing that you need is you need to have all that information, a real solid understanding of art making. And this has taken me a long time. And I went to a really amazing art school, but I came out and I was really missing a lot of the information. And I don't know, it just wasn't taught in a way that was complete. And so I had to kind of go after some of the information so I could make my practice more consistent. And we teach this. This is actually the content of the free Art to Life workshop that's coming up Valentine's Day, February 14th. It's coming. If you guys, if anyone's new here, you're probably not, but that's okay. But if you're new here and you want to participate in the free workshop, it's a2lworkshop.com. You can sign up. And then there's also an invitation that comes from that to join the Art to Life Artists Facebook group. I'm going to be doing a whole bunch of live trainings in the Facebook group during that week as well. But that content of what I'm sharing in that workshop, principles of value, principles of design, color, texture, risk, and soul, I've kind of grouped up these principles so it's comprehensive. So you can use, you just need all the tools, all the information, and you don't need to just get it from me. It's just out there. I've just put it in a way that it's complete, I think, and understandable. But that's the first thing. So if you're really struggling with your work right now, and you get to a point where, I mean, we all struggle. You're always going to struggle with art, but when you're really stymied for days and days, and then and it upsets you, and it brings you kind of down in your life, and then days, weeks go by, and it's really like, that's not, you just don't have it yet. It's available, but you just need to get this practice more even. And the evenness comes from, like, yeah, you're going to have difficulties, but you're also going to move through them. And it's just garden variety hard stuff because you're learning, not the kind of thing that your whole ego's tied up in this thing and your work's yourself and it looks terrible and you're taking it really personally. Those are signs that you just still need to incubate, which is a perfect word, because it just means you got to get your chops down. You got to really get this information kind of solid. And that can take some time, for folks who are new. There's a year solid, if you did our Creative Visionary program or something, people work really hard at that. And I know some of you guys are on this live right now who have done that program, and it was hard. And they, the course was 3 months, and then after that it was 6 months, and it takes a solid year to really start getting somewhere. So really understanding that value, being able to see value, the lightness and darkness of a shape or color or area in your picture, really seeing things. So this painting behind me right now, it's full color, but you have to be in the habit of being able to see, is that red dark or is that pale blue light? Being able to really understand that, because value, the lightness and darkness of a shape or area, is really what your eye sees first, that contrast. And I mean, this painting behind me is a perfect example of, I got stuck with a different color arrangement, and then I've ended up changing it, and it's almost there. It's not quite, but it is completely, it was like, I was just thinking, I wish I had a tape recorder, because I solved this problem using the principles of value and design. And it, and I still get into the thick of things, but I have some information that allows me to get out of it without too much difficulty. Okay, so that's what you really need, is the first thing that you have to get. And that's where that is where Art to Life comes in. I'm looking for people that are interested in coming into this. They're creatively curious, people who are stagnant or they're stuck a little, and then we help people like that. And I love that place, because that's where all the growth is. When someone starts to get this, and it's like, oh my God, I have all the tools I need. I can make any kind of art I want, and they start doing it. It's really a fun place to be standing when someone's doing that. It's really inspiring. So I love it. Tomoka, thanks for that. Free workshop was great, and CVP changed my practice last year. Wonderful, awesome. Okay, so that said, right, that's what we need. We need that solid chunk, that information. It's a big old bucket above your head that if you only have 30% of it, it's not enough. You need to have all of it or 85% of it, and it's totally doable. There's just a bunch of information. I mean, it really is doable. You can get this. I teach this. This is what we do. It's a bunch of information, but it won't take 5 years. You can figure this out in about a year if you work hard, you know. Okay, so which I think is incredible because it took me like 25. So the next thing is all about process. And I bet some of you guys who are on here, hey, Ilse from Latvia, it's late here, but I'm happy to join live. Awesome. Wow, I can't imagine what the time difference is. Zell, great. The CVP course launched my life as an artist. You know, thank you so much for that. I really feed off of you guys. That's why I come in here to connect, because I'm just working alone in my studio. And so I really appreciate that. And I love that you guys show up. And we're getting really excited because we're trying to reach all kinds of people this time for CVP and getting people into the free workshop. So I'm reaching out to people to try to get them to, you know, let us know if you know people or different places. I want to get some younger people who can really take advantage of this, because when I got out of school at 18, 19, I wish I had known this. It would have saved me so much time. But so anyway, the second piece of information that you have to have, the second big thing, the bucket of stuff you need, it's all about process. And I love talking about process because this you can play around with, and it's different for everyone. You get to customize it according to what you want to do and how you want to work. But understanding a way of working that can give you kind of consistent results, and maybe not even so much consistent results, but more a consistency of how you're showing up and how it's feeling to show up. We want to be able to show up, and it shouldn't be so hard to do it. Like, if there's a huge procrastination element still in your work and practice, it means it's still not kind of going. I mean, it is hard to show up. That's never going away. But, you know, I'd hate to recommend someone, you know, to, like, in order to get this thing really going, we got to reduce the friction of you getting in the studio. So how do we do that? Well, we make the experience of being in the studio really joyful. And a place where you kind of reframe your studio or wherever you're working as an opportunity, your art making as an opportunity to really feel yourself fully. You know, it's like the ultimate in meditation. It's the ultimate spa vacation for yourself, is to be able to make art. You have no restrictions. You have nobody telling you what to do. Usually no one's around. I mean, you get to be with yourself. And if you can really start thinking about it that way and directing the practice to optimize how you want to be, then the practice just becomes almost irresistible, right? It's no longer about what am I going to produce? It's how am I going to feel? Wow, you know, I've had my morning this morning, I almost got a parking ticket. Maisie pooped in my car, I swear to God, because at the coffee shop, and because I had taken her to go to the bathroom, and I put her in the car, and I was in the coffee shop, but she hadn't finished, so she's getting older, you know, like, this was what, and then the cable broke down at the studio. There was just a whole bunch of things, and it's like, this is how my day goes, and there's great stuff, and there's weird stuff, but my art gets to go perfectly great if I think of it that way. Like, when I get at the end of today, I'm going to get to paint, and it's going to be the best part of my day because it's controllable. And so how do we do that? How do we create a practice that's bulletproof? You know, part of it is this reframe. Part of it is working in a series instead of one thing, so you can get a sense of what you're doing more easily. So you have learning that happens by having different projects to work on, different paintings to work on, all at the same time. So if you get stuck, which will happen, you don't wait around to try and figure it out. You just start working on something else. And so you get to be productive. You know, that's a really, really important tool for how you show up in your studio. getting, putting the things in your studio that bring you alive, that you're excited about, whether it's the words or the things you want to do in your art, or having other paintings of yours that you really love that are up, things that inspire you, from pine cones to whatever it is. This is your place where you gain your strength and your power, and that's where this process comes in. I'm so into the process. I'm always today. Well, what I'm doing now is I'm starting to work with large oil sticks, and I love these things, and I'm really into it. I just got a huge order of them. They're the big ones. They're like this size but fatter, and so I've divided all my oil pastels and these oil sticks. I have all these different colors that have always been in this big bin, and I have to sort through to find the colors, and it's kind of irritating. So I've just now gotten these gallon buckets, half-gallon buckets, and these clear buckets, and I'm putting all the colors in all these buckets. So I've got a huge table, and all the colors of all the pastels are already organized. It's such a game changer. It's so much more fun. I don't have to go digging around for the particular color and end up using one I don't like because I couldn't find the one I wanted. So that's process. That's like, how do I do that? I'm using buckets now instead of small palettes for my paint because I'm working larger. It made a huge, huge difference. I just got, and and this is all process. I'm looking right now outside in the studio. I got these giant blocks this weekend. They're 6x6 pieces of wood that are about 18 inches long, and I'm putting them on the studio almost like kind of flat on the ground, and then I put the paintings on top of them, so it's lifted the paintings off the ground. So whenever I bring the painting down, it's about 6 inches off the ground. This makes it way easier for me to lift it up and put it down, like lift it up onto the nails on my wall, but it also makes it a little higher so I can just paint it on the ground almost, but I don't have to bend so far. Another huge change. I mean, this is just stuff I did that on Sunday, So process, it's sort of the next level of really refining it. And you want to do this stuff all the time. I mean, you want to be like, even if you're just starting out, like, well, set up your little place at the kitchen table, keep your paint in a cardboard box so you can get to it easier. Again, it's just about reducing the friction between not doing it and doing it. We want no friction. We just want to make it really easy and really fun, because if you keep coming back, your work's going to progress. And so that's why I talk about process a lot, because I know that for any of you guys listening, if you can just keep going, that's easy. The work's just going to get better, and we forget that sometimes, that, we show up and generally speaking, you improve things. Whenever you get involved, it's going to improve. Now you go down some and you kind of go up and you go down, but generally if you look a year ago at your work, even 6 months, if you've been working, you're getting better. You just do. So you don't even have to worry so much about that. You just have to drop into your studio, be present, and try to enjoy yourself. The rest will take care of itself. That's all. I know this because I see it so many times, Hey, Linnea, Kristen, nice to see you here. Catherine from Brisbane, great, so nice to see you. Yeah, Joe saying, I have to paint, no choice. You're lucky, because I bet, we polled everyone. Let us know in the comments if this is, if you get stuck with procrastinating, because when I polled, different artists, groups and stuff, it's one of the main reasons, one of the main barriers for artists. A few people are like, no, they're just hardwired and they just do it. But mostly, a lot of people struggle with this, totally. Oh, Joan saying she was feeling tired and thought she was going to go to bed, but after she started this video, she's in the studio. I love it. That's great. That's awesome. Okay, so we've talked about, excuse me, we talked about the principles, having all that information is a really important piece of getting this practice solid, and possibly doing this as a career even, getting it so you're even. First big rock is that information, getting all that information. If you don't have any, if you're just starting out, join us on the free workshop, February 14th, Valentine's Day. Make sure you click on the link in the comments here or go to a2lworkshop.com and join us, because I'm going over value, design, and color. I've created a workbook this time, so now there's actually printed material. It's so cool. I've never had that before, and people will be able to kind of go through it, and there's areas where you can sketch in your painting, the design of it, and then how to improve it. So it's a lot more than just like watching a video. There's a whole thing to kind of cruise along with it. So I'm hoping it's just all about, I know if I can teach people during that week, it's just it's really cool. And yes, and at the end of it, we offer CVP. But anyway, so fundamental information. The next thing is we got to get process. You got to get your process better. And that means doing hacks in your studio, making sure there's light so you can see well, just slowly improving things. You don't have to have the dream studio. Just make it a little better today. Organize your paint a little better. Put some pictures up, whatever it is. That's just, you're on the road to improving and reinforcing this sort of like cocoon that you live in, that makes it possible for you to feel really positive and optimistic. So then your work can reflect that, and you have more energy for it. So I'm a big believer in that. And then the third piece you need, and I see this so much, is you need to have that support group a little bit. You need that community of people that are doing this with you, that get it. That's a big piece of Art to Life. It's just, I was really lonely, and I found that I could reach out and connect with people, and I love it. I mean, this fills me so much, the teaching, but just staying in touch with people, and hearing about Joan. She was feeling tired and she's gonna go to bed, and now she's painting. Like, that fires me up, and I'm the same way. We all are influenced by people, and we get energy from people. Plus, people can give you feedback about what you're doing, and if they're artists, those are the kind of people you want to get feedback from. People that are also doing this. Like, I mean, your mother will always give you positive feedback, but people who aren't artists, they will it's a little bit more of a wild card. I know you guys have heard that or felt that, where someone will say something, it can kind of derail you. You're in your studio and the FedEx guy comes and doesn't look at your work. That's what happened to me when I was in New York City. I was an illustrator, and I would have all my work out, and I wasn't seeing anyone for days and days and days, and it wears you down. Your confidence just gets less and less and less. And I remember the FedEx guy would come, and he'd come in to pick up a package, and if he didn't look at what I was doing or didn't comment, I would take it personally because he was the only guy who was giving me feedback. I was like in my pajamas for 3 days making art, and it just gets weird. But so you want to be mindful about who this community is, or at least the people that are going to you're going to listen to, or open your ears to, because people who don't make art aren't always the best people. They'll like things, but they tend to like things that look like other things. And they tend to not be so sure about something really different that you might make. And from between us, what you're making that hasn't been made before, that might look really different, probably is amazing and probably is a good direction for you to be going. But we can get this feedback from people that it's like, you stop doing that. So if you're getting feedback from 30 people in your Facebook group or whatever, or you're part of the Art to Life community, or you're in CVP or in the academy or whatever, and people are giving you information, it really bolsters you up. It helps you stay more even, which I know is a huge piece of being able to do this art thing seriously, So let me just read these comments here. Barbara's saying, if I don't paint, I feel like something is missing in my life. Just yesterday, I organized my paints into colors too. It's a game changer. Yeah, I can't believe it. I have never done that. I've done it. I do it with my paint, but I never did it with all these oil sticks. And I've got little oil pastels. I got the small ones, the fat ones, and it's just a real mess. And so this is really fun. It's really great. Great, Barbara. Awesome. So Karen's saying, I wish I could quit my day job and go all in with my art, but I don't know how to make that happen. Luckily, I have an art-related day job. Yeah, so Karen, I'm talking to you. Like this art thing is available for you. And you can do anyone listening, anyone who's interested and passionate enough, we can show you how to take this to a whole nother level. And I mean, I speak from experience here and some authority because this is what I've been doing my whole life, helping people. And so I know you're not going to get support in that. And again, you want to move carefully and thoughtfully, but first get all that information. Get it so you're loving your making your art. If you can start loving making your art, then it's going to get better. And then it starts getting better and more like you. And then it's going to start selling more. And you can take little steps towards putting your work out there because all that stuff's scary. But what balances it is you having that positivity that allows you to take bigger and bigger risks because it's risky. Art making is risky because you're showing yourself to the world. And that's the big bugaboo. There's an uncertainty with it. It's scary, you know, and it's really cool that artists are compelled to do this. But it is what has to happen, but you don't have to go crazy. You can just take it in steps. So Karen, just remember, you know, get your practice a little better. Set up maybe this year you rent a studio, you know, all those things are the steps you need to go through in order to get this thing really going off. So, Judy's saying, I struggle with arthritis from head to toe. The only time I feel no pain is when I'm painting. God, that's great. Yeah, wow. Yeah, that would be super hard. And it's you know, I wonder sometimes when we're very in a flow state, which is what happens when you're painting and you're really paying attention and you're just in your body and you're responding to the work, that a lot of stuff just drops away, distractions, irritations. I mean, I'm really happy when I'm making work, and when I don't, for days and days and days, it's really, there's nothing that can correct that except just going to the studio. Because for me, it is me getting back in touch with who I am outside of all the relationships, out of whatever I'm doing in my business world or all that stuff. So yeah, so I totally understand that. Physical pain as well, I could see that. So Joe Adele Miles is saying the plumber that just left really liked a huge work. Yeah, I appreciate it too. So you definitely take all that feedback. If the plumber loves the painting, then absolutely use it, you know, but don't go the other way. Don't take it too seriously either way, right? We want to have a practice that even if no one's giving you feedback, that you're getting feedback from yourself, that this is a feels good to you. We got to make it so your work feels good to you, so then you can just keep going and you don't need to be bolstered up by other people. One of the patterns that I saw in myself was when things weren't going well, and you know, for a lot of years I was trying to sell my work, and I don't know, it just wasn't that good. But you know, so things weren't selling, and I would be frustrated, and I would think, God, I need to call the gallery. You know, I'd call the gallery, and I would try to glean from them, you know, some positive information. I was looking outside of myself to the galleries, which is crazy, to make myself feel better about what I was making. Because my hallucination was, if I was making work and it was selling, then I would be happy because then my work would be good. But I got it backwards. I shouldn't have even been trying to sell my work. I should have been just trying to make my work so I loved it, right? It's not about, ultimately, it's not about whether someone else likes it or not. You first have to figure out what you like and really make yourself independent of all that other junk. So then you can go into that world and put yourself out there on the line because it isn't so risky, you know. So that was something that I sort of did it backwards, and that's why I say, hey, get these pieces, get these rocks, get your practice really good, get all the art making information down so you can do this. So, and Mary is saying, I'm listening to you while I'm getting ready for my day job. and there's nothing wrong, of course. We all do different stuff or whatever. And for some people, art's their part-time thing or whatever. But I think it would be really cool to do. I know so many people and that I'm in touch with that are going after this thing of being able to do this instead of their day job or going to halftime or whatever. But I think it would be a really cool thing to track all these people, get a group of people that are ready to quit their day job in a year, and set the date and put these things in place and get the work stronger and, all that stuff, because it's like retirement, it's a real date that, it's a real threshold to go across, but you can also take that job and optimize that in the same way. So how can I do this job in a way, in a different kind of way that can help where I want to go with my work? Like just bringing your art into your work and sharing it with the people, your coworkers or whatever, it gets everyone talking about it. And you can like put your work in the cafeteria or whatever. Like it doesn't have to be it's not black and white. Like you can optimize your situation always. It's the same kind of methodology that we use in our art making, in our life making. I mean, that's what this art to life thing is. It's an approach to discovering your art. It's an approach to creativity that you use in your life to optimize all of it. Because if you can get super, super happy in what you're doing, and not in a superficial way, but I mean, just understanding what brings you alive, that filters into your work and it makes the art stronger. But you can't be making great, strong art if you're in a real soul-sucking job that you hate. You got to change that. You got to get a better job or reframe the job. Everything gets lifted up together, which is so cool. I just love all that stuff. That's the whole psychology piece of this is I've just seen it so many times, where people get their work gets going and then they've got to shift their life, right? Or they have to shift their life first to get their art going, but both have to happen for sure. It's not possible to just do amazing work and have a rest of your life be stagnant. It doesn't, you end up hitting the ceiling real soon. Yeah, Lene is saying you look for galleries to validate. I mean, we all do. We all love it when our work sells, and it's nice to hear all that stuff. But it also can be that sinking feeling. It's like comparing ourselves to other artists. It just doesn't feel good, and it doesn't ever make you feel good, and it doesn't ever make your work better. That has to be reworked on. Then you got to turn more inside and really look at your work. It's not about them. It's just about what your work's doing, and you need to like double down on getting clarity about that and making that awesome. So you're so busy doing that sure, you're going to look to be inspired by other people's work, but it's not the sort of wishing you were them or wanting to do what they're doing. Anyway, hey Michelle. She had a plan to create 100 works of art and then start promoting myself so that I am never behind and always have time for play and experimentation. Yeah, that's great. Like, do you see how she's thinking, right? So have this surplus of work. I love it. Are those going to be small, or, I mean, what size is that? Are you going to do 12 by 12? Yeah, Jill's saying, I'm retired and love the time I get to make art. That's awesome. Hey, Des. Lisa. Yeah. Really struggle to balance earning and loving my work. It just feels unbalanced always. You can balance this. It's totally doable. You can get it, and it's just and I teach a lot about this optimization of what brings you alive, and start bringing that more into the workplace or the things you have to do, like all that stuff, even the errands, what you do, how you do them, all that can help and bolster up your art making. They feed each other. They inform each other. The word I love is curation. We curate our work. I'm looking behind me, and there's certain colors that I've adjusted just so how I like it to make the other colors look really good. Well, we can do that too in our life. We can curate things. So yeah, we've got this really busy morning, but maybe we follow that by something that's really calm and open and more spacious, so they complement each other, right? That idea of differences that I talk a lot about in art making, the whole principle, all these ideas are around differences. what makes us come alive is experiencing different things, and that goes. That's how we can start composing, curating our days, our weeks, our months, our years. That's how we get this art to be produced and get this great outcome. Um, cool. Susan saying, I'm in process, drop to casual status at my job, and I'm doing my art almost daily. Right on. Still need the job to pay studio rent, though. Hopefully sales will replace that. Absolutely. And just say, language is important, that, sales will replace that. Like, it will. It will. And I love it. So that's really good. Congratulations on that. Johanna's running errands as she's listening to this, which is a perfect way to, to bring this message home, right? Like, I love all this podcast stuff. I'm, listening. There's so many cool things to listen while you're out and about. Anyway, so let's see. The free workshops coming up February 14th, Valentine's Day. Tell all your friends. It's going to be amazing. Make sure you join the Art to Life Free Artists Group. We're going to be, I'm going to be teaching in there during the week as well. And there's a lot of good stuff coming this year. We've got some really exciting stuff planned for Art to Life. So I can't wait to share all that with you guys. I'm going to hop off. Hope you guys have a great day today, and I will talk to you guys soon. If you have comments or questions, leave them here. I'll try and circle back around and get them answered. All right, you guys, have fun. Thanks a lot. Talk to you soon.